Let's review Fate Extella, the Umbral Star for the Nintendo Switch. I am a big fan of the Fate Stay Night universe because I find it strangely unique. It is theatrical, flamboyant, melancholic, and poetic, which are traits rarely found in other series. It is also one of the few series that sticks close to its visual novel roots by engaging in frequent internal monologues. Around a year ago, I reviewed a PlayStation portable game called Fate Extra. This was an RPG set in an alternate dimension of the Fate Stay Night universe, where a silent protagonist fights in the Holy Grail War. The current game we are reviewing, Fate Extella, the Umbral Star, is a direct continuation of Fate Extra's story. Even though the games are connected by the lore, the gameplay cannot be more different. Fate Extella is a Dynasty Warrior spin-off, which means it is a hack-and-slash action game with battlefield simulation mechanics. You control a warrior who can mow down hundreds of enemies with a single press of a button. Your goal is to conquer and defend territory. The battlefield is made up of self-contained rooms that are either in the enemy's possessions or yours. If you spend too much time taking down small fry, your bases will fall. Lose enough bases and you will lose the battle. Win enough bases and then the boss will show up, upon which defeating it will clear the level. You have a light and strong attack, a special attack, a transformation mode, and you can guard or dash. If you press the direction pad, you can perform spells which are limited in battle. The armor your main character equips determines which spells are available during battle. All the attacks are flashy and have a huge range. This isn't Monster Hunter where your attacks have to be precise. Here, you can just press buttons and a character will combo effortlessly and hit anything a football field away. The action is also extremely fast and furious. It's meant to dazzle instead of being anything technical. As you level up your character, you gain access to new combo strings which make button mashing even more productive. The minimap shows all the battlefield information. Blue areas are under your control, while red areas are under the enemy's control. Your allies will attempt to invade enemy territory, and vice versa. When you're in a zone that's been invaded or under enemy control, you will see aggressors. Defeat all aggressors and the area will come under your control. Most aggressors do not show up right away. Check out the bottom right of the screen, where the small red bars representing aggressors will slowly fill up as you defeat small fry. Once a red bar is full, the aggressor will show up in the area. Unlike previous Dynasty Warrior spin-offs, areas are not rectangular. They are irregular in shape, having dividing walls within themselves, and sometimes even go vertical with some light platforming. I find this design choice refreshing and interesting. It's easier to be lost, so there's a red arrow pointing from your character to where the aggressors are. The hallways connecting the areas are surrounded by giant walls of arrows, which helps you find your way around. The game is hard enough on normal difficulty due to how fast the enemies will take over your commanders and territory. At first, I thought taking down as many areas as quickly as possible would be the best way to victory, but I was defeated twice on the second level. There are invader spawners called plants that are scattered around the map. They spawn aggressors that invade and conquer your territory. If one of your areas is conquered, then the battlefield control bar on the top swings to your enemy's advantage. But if one of your commander falls in battle, then the battlefield control bar will change so much that is often an instant loss. As a result, defeating the plants to prevent invasion and defending your commanders should be your top priority. If normal difficulty is not to your liking, you can choose your difficulty per level. Even if you're defeated, you get to keep the experience points and levels gained during gameplay. My single biggest issue in this game is that the camera is wild and unpredictable. The camera will zoom in completely during attacks to create a cinematic effect, or spin around to show you cool shots, but during the moment where your camera is zoomed up right into your character, you lose track of where the enemy is. Then once it zooms out, we are disoriented and we need to search for a target again. Because your character moves extremely fast, the object you want to look at will likely disappear from the screen. You can press the right thumbstick to lock the camera on the boss, but the lock-on system is a joke and rarely keeps the boss in sight. Add into the mix all the special effects and pop-up information from the battlefield, and you get a confusing experience. Still, I like how many Fate Stay Night story elements are integrated into the battle, such as command seals. I also like how jumping between areas looks so cool, as you are flying through a slipstream. The main story with Saber is not too long, consisting of only 6 levels. However, once you finish the main story arc, you unlock new story arcs, each consisting of another 6 levels. There are over a dozen playable characters, each with their unique combos and special attacks. You gradually unlock them as you play. Let's talk about the graphics. The game's art design is so cool. It's like ancient and sci-fi at the same time. The special effects are fun to look at, and the UI oozes style. The character design and 2D portrait art are solid, and the 3D models are passable. Look at the character's fingers. They are stylized hands with tapered fingers. This shows an attention to detail. The Nintendo Switch port only runs at 720p, but is acceptable given that it's quite responsive and how many models are on screen at once. There are plenty of story cutscenes and the dialogue is very flavorful. The characters talk as they were in a Shakespearean drama, and the internal monologues really help to bring the advantage of books into a video game. Most video games do not have an elaborate monologue, so you don't know what a character is thinking or feeling except for their expression or unless they say it out loud. Having an internal monologue gives greater richness in our protagonist. The Fate Stay Night universe has an abundance of lore and world development from previous games, but this game doesn't give an adequate summary of previous events outside this game. The character dialogue is strong. However, the main story idea in this game is only mildly interesting. Fate Extella is an action game, so I would say the story is above par for an action game, but subpar for an RPG. Fate Extella the Umbral Star is an interesting experience with many things that are just so cool, but the action gameplay isn't something I look forward to playing for many hours. Dadozy Gaming gives Fate Extella the Umbral Star a 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching and happy gaming.